What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and the live stream. My name's Jason, Morph, Mixology Reptiles. As always, gotta say hi to the usual suspects in the chat, always in here. Of course, the show and stream sponsor, Herbert, has got to be in here first. And I don't know. This says that he was in here like 2 hours early, 2 hours and 25 minutes early or something. So I don't know if that one counts. But he was back in here again right at 59 minutes to go. So I guess I can allow it. We'll let some people get in here going and start cycling in real quick. If I look parched or exhausted or tired or sweaty, it's all true. Believe it or not, it's actually cooler in this room than it is in that garage, and certainly than it is outside. It is 107 degrees here today. So I thought I moved to Montana, not, Arizona. So I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so hey, what's going on, Dale? For those who are not aware, Dale Richards, constricted reptile, sorry, he'll be on next week, so that'll be fun. He's always in here watching the stream. Reese Pythons, 4-3 Fauna. What's going on, everybody? All right. I'm just gonna let our guest do her own introduction because, to be quite frank with you, I don't even know her personally. So without further ado, we'll bring in Miri of Msb Reptiles. How you doing?
Hey guys, how's it going, Jason?
Good. Like I said, I'm smoked because I've been working in the garage and it's ridiculously hot. And I also noticed over the last 2 hours, the sky is now brown.
Oh no.
So that's not good. It's I work, obviously, people know I'm an air traffic controller. I work at the airport, and it's about 4 miles from here. I'm actually in the traffic pattern over my head, and I've been watching all day. They've been flying the fire tankers, and they either are not getting a handle on it, or there's another one really close because the sky to the east and the south has gone gross, and it's bad outside. So, and being that it's 107 in 15 or 20 mile an hour winds is not helping.
Oh, I know it. It's so windy here all the time. I hate it.
Well, and I saw you're wanting to move down to Texas. Do you realize how gross it is down there, too?
I know. Just being at the Conroe show, the humidity was just nasty. The wind isn't as bad as New Mexico, for sure. So that's a little bit better. But yeah, I'm not going to love this humidity. My hair is too straight for that. And I straighten it every single day. And it just doesn't work.
I like how that's the first concern is damn it, I can't look good because I can't straighten my hair.
Exactly.
I was just in southern Alabama, not far from Pensacola, and it was only 80, 85.
Yeah.
But I swear to God, I told my wife when we were on the final approach into Pensacola, I'm like, I can see the humidity.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked out of that airport and it was disgusting.
I did that in Fort Walton. It was terrible.
I don't, and I've been threatening to move to Dallas for a long time. We probably will end up in Kansas City, but still it's and I, being up here in Montana, we get 100-degree days. That's not completely uncommon in the summer, not a lot of them, but it's just been creeping up, and it's 107 today and 105 tomorrow. I'm like, this is just not, I don't like it.
Yeah, I know. It's been hot as hell here too. The rodents aren't having much fun with it.
Yeah, no doubt. I do know that struggle. I don't breed anymore, but I remember when that was bad. And I remember in my old house when I did breed, we'd get these 100+ degree days, and it was an older AC and it couldn't keep up. So my house would slowly creep up to 70, 72, 75. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. It's not working. Okay, so first of all, before we get started, what is your name?
So I go by Miri or Sydney. It's just whichever one is easiest to say. I answer to both. If you start calling me one thing, I'm not going to hear you say my other name. So
really? So
yeah.
Is it like an acquired name, or is it a middle name? How'd you come to both?
I've always gone by Sydney with my parents. It was a whole thing with my dad named me Miri, my mom named me Sydney. And my mom said the only way that I'm letting you put Miri as the first name is if we call her Sydney. So my family calls me Sydney, And I've just gone back and forth changing schools whether they'll adopt my first name or middle name, and it gets mixed up all the time. So I just go by both. It's easier, and some people can't pronounce my first name. So if you can't pronounce it, then just call me Sydney.
And so I don't think I've ever met a Miri.
No.
But you don't really look like a Sydney. So
Oh, really? I've never heard that.
I figure we'll go that route. To be fair, the last redhead that I knew closely in my inner circle was many, many years ago in school, and her name was Lexi, and that's the only actual redhead I've ever, like true bright strawberry blonde redhead I've known.
Yeah.
Are you a natural redhead?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just don't see Sydney. I mean, I knew plenty of Sydneys growing up, but Miri's cool because it's different. So I guess we'll go with that.
I'm fine with that.
So first of all, we'll get into it because I know that there's going to be plenty of people here that want to know. But I don't think you did because I unfairly didn't warn you ahead of time.
Oh no.
I came prepared, and I have a custom designed backdrop that I'm just going to leave right here. Just so everybody knows, just so we know what we're doing. Just gonna roll that up so everybody can see. Okay, good. You gotta have a nice.
Get out of here.
You gotta have a nice backdrop and display it when you're on camera. You can't just have a white wall.
Is it too late to back out?
Hey, Brian Cusco up and left in my interview that I had him on, so I mean, you can do whatever you want, I guess.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll be following Cusco.
He's kind of sensitive, I think. Me and Garrett were just having a good conversation, not including him, so he just left. So, yeah, we'll get into all this, and it's all in good fun. I do want to shout out, because you'll see me drinking it most of the night. I do want to give a huge plug to Sewing by Melissa. These tumblers that she makes. This one happens to be my Yellow Belly mimosa. Whoop, shit. I spilled on my computer. Faster. Yeah. It's just iced tea, but yeah, This is my Yellow Belly mimosa that I made last year. So turned out really cool. Ended up getting them in that auction group. I can't remember what it was for, but anyway, Sewing by Melissa. Yeah. So give everybody that's here, and me for that matter, because for those that aren't aware, this is literally the first time Miri and I have ever spoken face to face. So, oh, by the way, I just got off the phone with Billy, and he says hi, by the way. So,
well, I'll have to tell him.
Yeah, because he knew you were going to be on. He said he's going to try to tag in here tonight if he can. We just did a Convos and Coffee with him that I think is going up tomorrow. So cool. Look forward to him and I trying our damnedest to talk over each other for 30 minutes.
Oh, hell yeah.
So because that's something Billy and I have in common, is we both can talk for good.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, go ahead and give me and everyone else listening just kind of a rundown. Who the hell are you?
I am not a nobody for sure. I know I haven't been big on the social media, but it's never been my forte. So I'm kind of just finally showing myself with this stuff, getting comfortable with it. I don't think I'll ever end up doing a bunch of videos or whatever, but I bought out Ransmeyer, the founder of the Monarch Gene, in 2019. And I just absolutely ran with that. I've been doing this since 2015, so about 6 years. I've pretty much specialized in cypress and pied and just a handful of other things. And I fell in love with Monarch, and I couldn't afford a lot of it before, but Rance messaged me one day and was like, "Hey, I'm getting out of this. You want it?" And I was like, hell yeah, just give me some time. I'll scrape up the money, and that's going to be something that it was a huge goal of mine, and I made it happen. And I'm really glad I did, because this is definitely something that I've been wanting to do on a very large scale for a long time.
Well, it seemed, from what little I've seen passively, it seems like it's definitely worked out for you. All joking aside, I would happily be in the Monarch project if I could afford to fund it. You know what I mean? And we've gotten to the point where I just refuse to do anything in here that doesn't happen at the speed of cash. Something I actually talked about on Billy's thing. And that's just not realistic right now. I had to Sorry, my sign's in the way. I had to, I had to do a huge infrastructure upgrade last year. I didn't have to. I wanted to. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I did. It's benefited me greatly so far. But I mean, that was a massive investment for us, and I had to do it as the money came in. And Monarch or Monsoon or whatever would be exactly the same way. And I just happened to fall ass backwards into my Ultramel stuff, and I love it. It's just the whole T positive project in general is just awesome.
Sorry, someone's walking in my room and interrupting me. Go away. Don't put that up. Oh my God. It only says Monarch. You can't even see it.
That's fantastic.
I can't with you. Yeah, thanks.
There you go. I love it. Oh, it's all in good fun. That's the best part, but the Monarch stuff's interesting. Like I said, I like all of the T positive stuff in general. Mm-hmm. Ultramel was just more attainable for me at the time, and some of the stuff that I've made with it, I've been really pleased with. But I will say one of the things that I'm really interested in seeing in the Monarch stuff is some of the darker combos.
Exactly.
I think that the Ultramel tends to shine more with. I mean, the cinnamon, that kind of stuff's nice because it brings in a lot of purple. But mm-hmm. I think Ultramel is going to shine more with the bright stuff, with Orange Dream, with like lesser butter, that kind of stuff. And mm-hmm. Monarch, you go super dark with it because it'll still hold those golds and the oranges in that, which should be really cool.
That's exactly why I like it. I like the darker morphs. Ultra. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of lighter stuff. It just depends on what the gene is, but that's why I ultimately like Monarch over Ultramel because it's darker.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's like when you got a finite amount of space and facility and tubs and that kind of thing, it doesn't necessarily make sense to have both or to have multiples of stuff. Like I do lavender albino for my dreamsicle stuff, and that I don't have a single standard albino in this room, and I have no intentions to, because the price gap between albino combos and lavender combos is narrowing. And I think that the lavender combos look better in general, apples to apples. So there's almost no benefit to keep regular albino. And unless I was going to do a very dedicated, like 1 or 2 visual female, dark Monarch direction, at this point I've already established an Ultramel. So why?
Yeah, I agree with that very much. I don't think I'll ever get into Ultramel just because of the light. I'm just not into it. I guarantee if it did end up making some things darker, that I probably would end up buying that. But I don't know. And I'm always against Zach Nava, so can't break that rivalry with the Master Ultramel. So.
I don't know if he's in here yet, but I'm sure this will make it to him at some point. So, I gotta have Zach on at some point because he's definitely on Team Ultramel, and we'll he and I've talked quite a bit about that. So, what if you were gonna pick one? I'll give you 3 genes. How about that?
Okay.
I'll give you 3 genes, and you can add 1. For now, we'll do just 3 codoms. What 3 codoms would you like to see stacked into your Ultramel stuff? If you could turn the key and it's done tomorrow.
In the Monarch or Ultramel?
Or in the Monarch stuff. I'm telling slip of the tongue, so to speak.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a tough one. I have a lot going into it this season.
Oh, look who showed up. Team Ultramel's in the house. You're outnumbered. That's not true. I saw Team Monarch earlier. So
yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm actually going to flip that around first. What would you put into Ultramel? First of all, just with the 3 genes, what would you choose?
It is a harder question when you actually have to because when you open up the ability to add recessors, everybody yells pied, clown, hypo, sunset, whatever, right? That's super easy. But when you're talking about codoms, I'd love to see, unless it's already been made, and who knows, but I'd love to see a super GHI Ultramel.
Okay.
I think that would be interesting. I'm already working, it's going to have recessive in it, but I'm already working towards super cinnamon, 8-ball, super black pastel, whatever combination Ultramel stuff.
Okay.
Because the nice thing that I found is the cinnamon stuff with the Ultramel really accentuates all the purple part of an Ultramel, right?
Right.
And so is what I'm actually working on. I did double heads last year. Is I've got cinnamon and pewter and pastel double head ultra G stripe stuff. The ultra stripe stuff I think is going to look really cool by itself.
Yeah.
The only problem with that project is cinnamon takes away every bit of pattern in genetic stripe. So I have to at some point work out of that because I have a cinnamon Ultramel male and a pinstripe Ultramel female. I've got to be, what I really need is something like a butter leopard orange dream genetic stripe male or something that I can put to this female and get a whole second batch of double heads that have no cinnamon in it. Because otherwise I'm going to make a super cinnamon freaking ultra stripe and I'm not going to know it's G stripe necessarily because it's going to be solid anyway. But theoretically that should be an all purple snake, right?
You would hope, I
mean, that's everybody's aiming at, at the well, like Brian says, like the Barney ball or whatever. So, but GHI is something I don't think is as early of a morph as it is. I don't think it's in enough stuff. I like GHI in a lot of things. But like I said, the stuff that works so well with Ultramel is all the bright stuff, the bamboo Ultramel stuff and the lesser butter Ultramel stuff and that kind of thing. I'm actually long-term plans am working towards ultra freeway combos. So he's ready to go. So this fall, because she's already been paired. I am planning on making if I can hit all the odds together, it'll be a super enchy scaleless Ultramel just because I want to see it.
Right. That's going to be insanely purple, I bet. I want to
Well, no, it should be super bright orange.
Well, even just the Ultramel is a scaleless.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
But it should be just electric. I mean, things should glow in the dark, I would think. But I still have faith in the scaleless project, but I'm not trying to reproduce everything in here in scaleless. There's a couple of things I want just because they're cool, and that's one of them. I want to see what the scaleless Ultramel looks like.
Right.
And to have it, I'm going to have ultra. I'm going to have pastel and enchy in that process, so I could by rights, the super enchy is going to add more brightness to it anyway and take away a lot of pattern.
Right.
And pin potentially. There's pinstripe in this too, so. I have I won't have calico, but I have a super enchy pinstripe calico male over here, and I'm looking at that thinking this in orange with no scales is going to be stupid.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
But next year for my long-term deal is I've got an Orange Dream Phantom Het Radiosanthic freeway male.
Jesus.
that I'm planning for her.
Yeah.
Because the OD, super Phantom, what have you, ultra freeways and super asphalts should be ridiculous.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's all bright stuff. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say I really want to see a lot of the dark stuff so bad. I just had my clutch hatch that was a pastel monarch to my spot nose het clown, which I didn't have. I didn't even think about the het clown, but I ended up with a pastel spot nose het monarch, posset clown, spot nose, and just a normal. But I really want to see it in spot nose and the Batmans. And I just talked to somebody about them doing the Batman. They just got spot nose monarch or something like that. But I'm like loving how that looks. I just want the dark stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you could really pull the blacks out of the Batman and turn them, make real dark at the month, that's going to be killer. Even I mean, thinking of like what Justin's doing, because we'll never catch him, but
Yeah.
You think of what the chocolate Monarch Batman would do for the same reason, because that chocolate Batman he's got is super dark, and it's completely turned the color palette around so that effectively would have very little orange, but it should still be fairly bright. That'd be interesting. Well, I will say, if we're gonna allow recessives in now, I have an exceptionally long odds at my only chance at Sunset. I honestly don't care about the Sunset stuff, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah.
But I think that the Sunset Ultramel is going to be insane. I think people, for the same reason we're talking about between the two, I think people are going the wrong way with Sunset. Dark is not the answer with that stuff. You know,
I haven't worked an ounce with Sunset. I've seen a lot of it, but I tend to agree with that. I think the lighter is definitely going to look a little bit better. The
Cinnamon Enchi Sunset that Brian made, Cusco made, they look incredible. Don't get me wrong. And, you know, the Sunset Clown honestly did nothing for me. The Hypo Sunset looks really nice as a baby. I've never seen an adult.
Yeah.
Banana Sunset's fine. But I will say I follow Brad Boa online too, and he just came out with whatever the hell that was. It was a Leopard Mojave Orange Dream Sunset or something or other, and it's insane because he's starting to bring more of the light stuff in. You know, Orange Dream and Yellow Bell, I guess it was, and that kind of thing. And I just think because of the color palette that Sunset rides in, I think Ultramel is where that needs to go. I think the Ultra Sunset is going to be really nice.
Yeah.
So if I have any luck, I'm going to hit a butter sunset or a butter pin sunset, and it'll be a male, and then I can put it to this girl, and 6 years from now we can have this discussion again and see what it looks like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What do you think? I just saw one fly by. What do you think about Desert Ghost with the Monarch stuff?
I'm doing that, actually.
Okay.
I'm starting to work into that. My female isn't quite ready, but once she is, I really want to see what that looks like. That is something, even with Hypo, I want to see Hypo in it. Even though, like, Desert Ghost is a lot lighter, but it's something that I really like too. So I'm going to end up putting that into Monarch for sure.
Well, the one thing that it would benefit for sure is it turns the dark stuff, the blacks in that, really dark. And really solid. So maybe it's going to highlight all of the caramel tones and darken out all of the purples in that.
I hope so, because I'm not going to deal with the light.
They're going to come out, they're going to be glowing. You're like, throw these away. I don't need these ones. Like, damn bright snakes.
I want to not be able to see it when it's dark.
Yeah. You don't produce a lot of Lucy's, do you? Like,
no.
Team Dark Snake. I'm going to write Team Light Snake over here now. Like, that's funny. So what aside from Desert Ghost, now that we'll add recessive stuff to it, what is your long-term thought process with Monarch?
So I had a lot of people asking. Obviously, Clown is a huge favorite. I wasn't going to put Clown in it because a lot of people do. Kabilka's put it in Monarch. I'm pretty sure I saw double het somewhere that he posted. I want to do, I have my pieds that are going to be ready next season that I'm going to put together. So I'll have Monarch pieds. I want to see if it does anything. I want to put Xanthic to it just to see. I know it's like way out of left field, but I just think it would be really interesting to see what that would do. I don't remember who I was talking to about that project, but I think somebody did that with Ultramel at one point.
We've seen the caramel snow.
Yes.
And it's kind of interesting looking.
Yeah, so I kind of want to play around with that just to see what that would do, and then I want to get puzzle into it. I know people are already doing the puzzle, and I'm pretty sure there are already hets out there, but that's another one that I would do.
Interstellar called that one. Yeah, Monarch puzzle. Yeah. That's something else I don't have. I have the pieces to it, but that girl has tried to die on me like 3 times now, and I don't think she's ever gonna get to size. So
yeah.
No, man, now you got me thinking. So you and I are just going to have to race to the bottom with both projects and see who makes the best one on the way down. Like,
oh yeah, for sure. It won't be you.
All right, shots fired. Fair enough. So how many animals do you have then? What's your collection?
I have about 300 snakes right now.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, I don't stand a chance. I don't have the volume to keep up with that.
No, I want to be way, way, way bigger. So moving to Dallas is going to be such a huge weight off my shoulders with hopefully more room. I'm planning on renting when I get there, but then I want to buy in the next year. So as long as the market gets better, I know it's a seller's market right now.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to use a different word, but this is family friendly, I think.
Oh, well,
maybe
thanks
not.
for telling me now.
Hell, MJ smoked a bowl on the show the first time I had him on, so I guess
of course he did.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
So are you full time already?
Yes, yeah. I have a degree that I'm not using.
Did you have a real job?
I did off and on. I used to work at the gun shop in town here for a while, and then I just kind of started doing part-time work randomly and then temp jobs just to have that in between in the season. And now my seasons are pretty much year-round, and I just don't have the time for it anymore. And I have an aeronautical engineering degree that I'm not using. So
are you an Embry-Riddle brat? Oh no. Okay, we're done. Bye, folks. See you later. Okay, bye. No, I'm just kidding. I went to UND. That's why.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. And you're not using. Well, you'll probably make more money in snakes anyway. Let's be real.
Okay. Well, I mean, I plan on it, so that's why I'm.
Well, if that's the goal, right?
Instead. Yeah, exactly.
So, what was your intent, though? Why that? And how did you get derailed?
I was going for my pilot's license. I love flying. I was actually going to join the military, but then I married military, and then I changed my mind. Now I'm divorced.
With married or military?
Both. Both. Yeah. Absolutely both.
Well, I mean, that's I guess that's the way to try on both shoes at the same time, right?
That sounds terrible.
Okay. I don't know where to go from there.
I was just wanting to get my pilot's license. I know you don't need to have that degree for it, but it was I don't know, aeronautical, anything, aviation, just it's really interesting to me and I really like it. I suck at math, which I don't understand why I went for an engineering degree. But I think I'll end up looking for something in that degree path in Dallas for a little bit, as long as I can balance all the snakes at the same time.
Well, that should be, that should be a no-brainer. You got American Airlines owns that entire city, so
yeah,
that shouldn't be hard at all. I mean, if not there, you can go to Dallas Love and work for Southwest, or making Gulfstream's down there. I mean, you got all kinds of options.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm really looking forward to it, but at the same time, it's scaring the shit out of me about moving, and
no doubt,
we'll get there.
I mean, I only have 100 animals in here, and I didn't have that many at the time, and I only moved 8 miles, and that was an undertaking as it is. So,
yeah, I'm gonna end up moving a lot of this on my own because my boyfriend Steven got a job in Dallas. That's why we're moving there. And he leaves on the 25th, and then I'm gonna be all by my lonesome until I get to move out there. We haven't even found a house yet, just because renting has been such a bitch.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah, I certainly don't envy anybody that's trying to relocate or move up or anything right now. It's insane. I mean, my wife and I are trying to move Kansas City wise for my career and that, but I mean, even if the federal government allowed me to do that right now, which is not going to happen because they've royally screwed the last 2 years up, and so we're way behind.
Yeah.
I mean, right now would be a great time to sell my house. Don't get me wrong, but it'd be impossible to try to replace it.
Yep.
So
exactly.
As what I'm been what we're kind of riding right now is I got this really nice like 8-month artificial inflation of like 4 or 5 years worth. And so when the world settles down and it's more reasonable, I've already got that head start, because we only bought this place a year ago. And realistically, if you're going to buy, you need to be 3-4 years where you don't have to pay to get out of it. You know what I mean? But we got to expedite that, luckily, because this market went nuts. I mean, they built one across the street that's just like this one with a basement, and it cost $65,000 more to build than this one did.
People are even just offering $60,000 on top of asking price right now in Dallas.
I don't know how they're doing it. I mean,
they're moving from California. That's why.
It's not all of our fault. There's other states.
I'm from California, so I can.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Whereabouts? Oh God. Central Valley girl. Gross.
Yes.
Oh. I'm from just east of Sacramento, so I try to avoid I-5 and 99 like the plague. I hate the Central Valley.
99. Yeah.
I hate the Central Valley. Although the Central Valley took me to Freedom Breeder, and Jesse's a good dude, so that was cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I have spent enough time in Turlock and Lodi and Bakersfield and Stockton and Modesto and all that crap in there. I don't ever care if I go back.
Yeah, I would avoid Modesto like the plague. And Lodi is getting worse.
It's so funny because I tell people when I'm from, I meet people all the time that are like, oh, that's, you tell people you're from California, they think you're from like LA.
Yeah.
And you're kind of stuck in the middle, but as far as I'm concerned, everything south of Santa Barbara doesn't exist. That might as well be Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. I can't stand SoCal, right? And but I talk about the Central Valley is like a whole different country. Like it's not even part of the state,
it shouldn't even be part of California. It shouldn't be there.
But when I watch, because I'm actually going back through and watching Sons of Anarchy again for the 3rd time, and it's so funny because every single place they reference in that show, except Charming, is a real place.
Yes.
And they're all right up along I-5 and 99 and out 580 and between the Bay and San Diego. And I'm like, God, I know exactly where they are. Like this, and it still looks gross. Like it's.
Oh yeah. They haven't done anything to that to help it at all. And
when I joke with people, I tell them all the time that you don't realize, but meth was literally created in Stockton. Like that's its only claim to fame. So
only reason I ever went to Stockton was for the hockey games. Only reason. Otherwise, I wouldn't be caught dead in Stockton. You would be caught dead if you went to Stockton.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, especially as a scrawny, paley white kid. Like it would just be dangerous. Like I said, it might as well be Tijuana. Like
yeah, it's the same thing.
How long have you been out of California?
I moved when I was 19.
So like a year and a half ago?
Well, I mean, no, I'm 26 now. So it was
still a wee little thing.
Quite a long time ago. No, I'm starting to feel old.
26 and already tried on marriage and the military. So
yeah.
That's okay. I know I have a friend of mine. I'm sure she does not watch these. I used to work with her, and she's actually from San Diego, and she's back there now with her job. And she showed up, and we were all sitting in the conference room at work and kind of getting to know people. And I walk in, we're sitting there, and Natalie's sitting there by her on one side, and she introduced herself to the room. She no joke, says, "Hi, my name's Natalie. I'm 23, 2 divorces, and a boob job." That was how she introduced herself to everybody in the facility. I'm like, this is great.
That's phenomenal. That's right up my alley.
It takes all the awkwardness out of it. It answers all the questions right off the bat. You don't have to get weird and try to ask. And it's like, okay, now we can move on and we know.
Exactly. That's perfect.
She's a hot mess too, man. She belongs in San Diego. That's definitely her plaything. But oh God. So what I see in a lot of your pictures and that, and even now, so that you're always in a VenomLife tank. So where
I don't know. Every time I go on podcasts, I'm wearing this shirt.
what is your affiliation there?
I am very good friends with Brent. I love him to death. He is, I would say, one of, if not my best friend, for sure. I've known him for almost 4 years, 4 or 5 years now. But every time I help him put all the stuff up at shows, and we're always hanging out. And if you haven't seen us at the bar together yet, I mean, you're going to at one show at some point, or having our mimosa Sundays at the shows. Yeah, I love Brent to death.
Well, I like Brent a lot. I gotta give him and Chris their due time as well, and their shout out, because they sent me this a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
And I freaking love my hook from Good Hooks LLC. I do have some of the VenomLife stuff as well. In fact, in the description of every single video since this one came out, is a coupon code for them that they gave me. So they're super cool dudes, and their hooks are second to none as far as
I have so many of them. It's not even funny. I have way too many hooks for me to even use.
I need to get one of their drawer pulls, because
I have one of those. Yeah, they made a custom one for me too.
These big 70 cups on the bottom of this rack are kind of hard to pull, and I don't when I'm feeding, because that Ultramel girl likes to come flying out for dinner. So
yeah,
I got to get one of those from him. I need to give Zach his due time, because he did pay me to do it. So super chat from Zach says, just showing some love for my Wednesday night co-host and a real badass in the industry. You all have no idea how far she's going to go.
Thanks, Zach.
So like I said, we're going to have Zach on at some point too, and talk about it. But I just wanted I just thought it'd be fun. And I didn't know when I scheduled with you that you were going to be on Billy's show.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, damn. And so now I'm like, it looks like I'm just dragging guests out after Billy's done with them. And that's but I did want to, it was weird, because you mentioned in the beginning, like, I'm not a newcomer or whatever, but I mean, I am, to be fair. I've only been in this 4 years. But in that period of time, you didn't come onto my radar until the last 8 months to a year, probably.
Right. Yep.
And like, this girl comes out of nowhere with these like freaking Hot Rod magazine model-esque pictures. And I'm like, where the hell does she come from? Oh, and by the way, everybody knows who she is. And I'm like, what am I missing here?
Yeah, it's my fault. I suck at social media.
Yeah, that's probably for better, man. I wish I could get off of social media, to be honest with you.
I'm fine with it. Like, my personal page, I used to have like 15,000 followers, but I mean, it's a lot different, like posing with the Jeep and going to the lake and all that stuff. That gains followers like in a heartbeat. But the business page, I only have 1,100 followers or something like that. When it comes to business stuff, I suck with algorithms and all that crap.
I don't understand any of it. People ask me all the time, how do you get followers? How do you grow your base? How do you do this? I'm like, dude, you're talking to the wrong person. Yeah. I'll go weeks without posting something, and then I'll post like 4 things in a day, and like I'll skip videos, and I don't know how it works. I look at mine, because I have one of those Smurl counters above my door for Instagram, and I look at it all the time. I'll be in here working, and I'll hear it ticking over. I'm like, really? Like, what the hell? And I don't know how it happens. So if anybody's looking to ask, it's not me. Don't ask me. I don't know how to do it.
Oh yeah, I've had a couple of people ask me, and I'm like, do you see how many posts I have? I always forget to post, and when I do post, I'm like, nobody's gonna care about it, so like I shouldn't even do it. And yeah, I don't know.
Your page kind of reminds me, like you mentioned the pictures with the cars and whatnot, and that gets all the followers. I'm sure you're aware of who Montana is. Montana Hallmark. Yeah. Same idea, right?
Yeah.
She's fantastic. That girl's awesome. I need to meet her at some point too. But her pictures, they stop people in their tracks, and it works. That's
yeah.
Good for it, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned speaking of that kind of popularity. That you mentioned that you worked at a gun shop and whatnot. Do you know who? I think her handle is Blueberry Hill on TikTok.
No, maybe. I don't pay attention to names on TikTok.
You need to look her up if you haven't seen her. She now works for We the People.
Oh shit. Okay.
Holsters, but she has like fire engine red hair.
Yeah.
And
okay, I know who you're talking about.
I follow her. I love her page because she's one of those like Zach said, badass chicks that does not care what anybody thinks about her. I was like, we need more of that. We need more of these women out in front of us that are, that are not afraid to just push people over out of their way and whatnot. And what, in your experience, how has that been in a arguably male-dominated industry?
It hasn't been that bad with a lot of stuff. It has gotten me, I think, friends that I thought I had, but they were just kind of there because of hopes of relationships or something like that. And it's definitely hard, but it hasn't been as bad, I guess, as just the regular world. And I don't know.
Would you
go ahead.
Would you say that maybe because of your attitude, personality, style, what have you, that you kind of get brought into the fold as just one of the guys?
Oh yeah, I have that all the time. I've been a huge tomboy my entire life, and I just recently in the last like 3 to 5 years or so, like actually started dressing like a girl, I guess you could say. But I've always been one of the guys for a lot of stuff, but I don't know what is in like their minds, and sometimes it ends up being like expectations of relationships, and I don't know. I never know anymore. It's kind of annoying, but
I have no idea what that's like. But I can imagine, I understandably what you're saying for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It can, how do I tastefully put this? It can be an artificial boost in as far as business and following, and that is concerned, to be an attractive woman in scantily clad outfits or revealing outfits or whatever with your animals or your cars or whatnot.
Right.
But there is obviously some unwanted attention that comes with that, and it almost like it comes hand in hand, and you either have to, like Montana goes, and she knows that what she's putting out is bettering her career, but it absolutely has to come with that risk, and I'm sure she knows that.
Yeah, I've always tried to tread lightly with, because I'm the person who will post bikini pictures all day, and I've had a lot of people follow my personal page instead of the reptile page, and I try to get people to go over to the reptile page a lot because I don't post a ton of that stuff on my personal page.
Mm-hmm.
But I know now there's a lot of people from the industry on my personal page, so I'm kind of like bringing it back a little bit for things that I used to post and stuff, and like thong bikinis and whatever. But at the same point, like, I really don't care. I know a lot of people think it's like distasteful and whatever, but it's like, I'll wear that stuff at a dang reptile expo. If we go out to the friggin' pool like everybody does, you're gonna see me in a bikini. I try to tread a little bit lightly with it, but at the same time, I'm like, I really need to stop caring so much about it. It's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and if it gets results, who cares, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, as long as it brings people to the page and makes a sale or adds a follower or whatever, who, like, at the end of the day, what's the matter?
Yeah.
You're obviously strong enough to push away all the creeps anyway, so it's not a big deal.
Absolutely.
I'm sure. I don't get anything like that, obviously. I get DMs constantly on Instagram from people that I don't ever care to talk to. I can't imagine what yours look like. So,
yeah, they get pretty wild.
I will say, simple policy on my page that I've said on here numerous times: if you message me And the only thing it says is, do you want to do a sticker swap? I don't even acknowledge it. I just delete it. So no, stop it.
I still do those once in a while.
And that's fine. And
when
we're done with this, I'm happy to send you some of mine and whatnot. But I want people to want their sticker up here and to send it to me because of that, not because they want something in return necessarily. It doesn't mean that if you send me something, I'm not going to send you something back. That's not necessarily the case. But it's just like, I just don't get that mentality. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, it's the same thing, half and half. If it's just somebody who wants these stickers and they never end up anywhere, then what's the point? Like they're there for advertisement.
Yeah, that's true. And you see, you never seem to see the fruits of that, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. It's either Interstellar or HB Reptiles. Forgive me, guys. I can't remember which one it was, but I got tagged in a post today on Instagram, actually, that they finally got their sticker stuff sorted out and started putting stuff up, and they tagged me because my stuff was on there. I'm like, that's cool. See, like and now if they take pictures or on a video or whatever, that stuff's in the background. Same thing here. And there's a reason why this is my backdrop for all my videos now, is because I want people to realize that I'm not just throwing them in the garbage, or, I don't put them on my incubator because I like to actually be able to see through the window. But
yeah, I put mine around the edge and stopped filling in the middle because I can't freaking see.
Yeah. So it's obviously no closely guarded secret that you're also into tattoos. Mm-hmm. As am I. In fact, I'm waiting for the government to pull their head out of their ass so that I can travel for my job again. Yeah. And go see my boy Brian and his boss Billy in Ohio and get the rest of my sleeve finished. But what is there any? First of all, how many tattoos do you have?
I have no idea anymore. I lost count. I have no freaking clue.
Do you know where you lost count at?
No, I think I don't know. Maybe around 50. Maybe.
At what point do individual tattoos just become all part of one big thing? And it's now just one piece.
That's how I feel completely. I think my last one was it wasn't my Billings, but that one's my favorite. But yeah, I lost count a long freaking time ago.
So you say your favorite is the Billings python you got?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I want to get this arm completely covered. I think he was charging like $2,000 for a full day. This took 10.5 hours or 10 hours, something like that.
Jeez.
But
the Billings is an animal that I want to own someday. But
so do I.
I can't justify the money, and I'm terrified that it wouldn't thrive. I'm like,
I was having that conversation with Blake. Blake Wilson had one at the Conroe show, and I was going nuts over holding it. And I was like, man, it would scare the shit out of me. And he said that when he got the lot of Billings, he was so scared about losing any of them because of that price tag.
Didn't he have $10,000 on that girl or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Nerd has him at.
Yeah, I saw the pictures on Instagram from people.
Yep.
That's just, I just can't. I got to see one at G3X's place out in Sacramento. I was there with Riley at the time.
Yeah.
Riley Jemison. They have a pair. They were hatchlings or yearlings or whatever at the time. I was like, oh, this is killer. And, I've watched Justin with his and obviously Nerd and that stuff. Mm-hmm. I was like, man. And now Brian Barczyk with his and whatnot. I'm like, it's such a cool. And I've got, it's on top of my rack. I've actually got the Billings book. I can't remember the guy that wrote
Serpents in the Clouds.
That's the one. Yep.
Ari.
Yep. I bought it from the Chase auction.
Yeah. That's why I got mine.
It's such a cool book, and it just seems like such a neat species. But that's one of those that if I ever got one, it would need an extravagant display.
Exactly what I want to do. I haven't even touched on that, but I'm going to be putting a lot of money into a huge display for something like that.
Yeah, that becomes a pinnacle piece in your collection for sure. And not that these are lesser than, but we all know that they thrive in dark, small environments, and this is far more efficient to keep them this way if you're going to do it as a breeder operation. But some of those, animals like that, and, God forbid I can ever afford a super dwarf cow. from Garrett, something like that's going to have a really cool display. And something akin to the Sickness from Bill Stiegel will have a super cool display. And someday if I get to the point where I've got property and can build a dedicated building for what I want, I have no desire to go full time whatsoever. I not at all. I mean, I was telling Billy in that conversation earlier, 40 to 50 clutches max, 40 to 60 clutches right in there is all I'm really going to do. But I want enough room that I can have like a really cool display wall with
exactly
half a dozen, 10, whatever, really cool, unique species and really neat displays with them. Like my own little mini reptarium, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to do so bad. Bolin's is just going to be something that deserves that. That's a whole different realm versus the ball pythons.
Well, and it's tough because I mean, people know that have been following me long enough. I used to have that, so to speak, in the enclosures that I had built that were where this rack is. And Universal Rocks, Stuart down there, sent me a bunch of backgrounds and rocks and bowls and stuff. And I had these really cool, like realistic interiors for my 2 carpets and my doom rolls and whatnot. But it just size becomes an issue. I've only got 160 square feet to work with here, and and so I'll get back to it because I've designed online numerous times like a 30 by 30 building or something, and how you could put the ball python stuff in there and have a walk-in incubator and like a hatchling side, and then like what would be my office, so to speak, where I can do all of this stuff and have my computer set up so it's out of the house, would be lined on 2 or 3 sides with really cool displays. This background.
Hell yeah.
So it's like going into a little cave, So back to the tattoos anyway. Sorry, I got off on a tangent. So you have no idea how many you have. That's cool. Is there any overall theme to what you're doing and what you've got?
I kind of started with this arm to be like a travel kind of thing. Or I don't know, I started with my compass and then went to the flag and then did the eagle, and then it just kind of turned into animals and random shit. So I started to, but then you see like all these cool other ideas and it just kind of, it changes immediately. This one, I'm definitely going to be doing animals. Everywhere else is just random stuff.
Do you have, again, how do I tastefully question? Do you have any place on your body that is off limits for tattoos?
No.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Interesting.
There's already tattoos where nobody would see.
that's not necessarily what I meant, but I mean, you're just like that girl I used to work with. She's not afraid to share anything.
I can be a hot mess sometimes. It's okay.
Hey, it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like for me, when I first started getting tattoos, I was in the military. So I tried that shoe on too, by the way. And I also threw it away when I was done. And it's my original rule was nothing that couldn't be covered in shorts and a t-shirt. Part of that was because the Air Force's rule was you couldn't have more than 25% of any exposed limb covered in any uniform configuration, with the exception of PT. So that eliminated. You could do full leg sleeves in the military. It didn't matter because we always had pants on, except for in PT.
Yeah.
But nothing. You can only have like a 25% of the lower arm and that kind of thing, right? And because my dad is adamantly against tattoos, he's just not. It's not his thing.
My dad was too, but now he shows off like pictures that like my Bolin's tattoo. He shows that to like everybody.
My mom's got a dozen or so tattoos, so it wasn't a big deal for her. But so I did the same thing that every new soldier or airman or whatever does when they're in tech school. It's the first time they've ever been away from their home for more than 4 days, and they've got like adult money now and no responsibility, right? And I went and got an eagle with an American flag like everyone else does. In fact, funny side story, I follow Mike Janikowski online from Washington, and he just got this massive like patriotic half sleeve, and shit. I'm looking at him like, Mike, you're too old for that game. That's like a 20-something thing in the Army. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's a big piece too. It's got a lot of color and so it looks cool. But it just cracked me up. So I've got the eagle and it's wearing dog tags, and on the dog tags is a breast cancer ribbon for my grandmother.
Oh.
So she's still around. Don't worry about it. It's but my thought process was, if I'm going to get tattoos and not tell my dad, I'm going to make them personal so that he can't say anything about it. You know, so
that's one way to do it.
And while I was down there, I got this really cool like combination music note, bass clef, treble clef. Like it's a really neat combo design on this arm. And because I was into music, I guess, you know, I can barely play the guitar. A little bit of the piano. I was in the drum line or the percussion corps in my senior year of high school, and that was it, right? Like I'm not a musician, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And it was black and gray as well. And then I got a set of pilot wings and a missing man formation on my back from my grandfather. Mm-hmm. So I get home from tech school, and I'm at my grandmother's house, and my dad sees the tattoo poking out below the sleeve or whatever, right? And he's like, "What's that?" I was like, "Well, this is an eagle. This one's for grandma, and like this one's music because music's important." And like, "Oh, by the way, I've got one on my back." He's like, "You got what?" And so I take my shirt off, like this big shoulder piece, right? Oh. And it's got his name on it and the missing man formation. And he's like, he literally has told me before. He's like, "That was not fair," because I had no ground to stand on to be mad.
Yep.
You know, but I've got now, obviously I've long since broken that rule. You know, my rule was nothing below the elbows when I got out, and I broke that pretty quick. Now basically the only thing I won't get is anything above the collarbone. I just, neck and face in that it's no good.
Yeah, I'll never end up, I think maybe I'll end up doing my hands, but I've always told myself that I didn't want to do that. Yep. Definitely no neck and I have behind the ears. That's the only place that I'll do that because it's kind of.
So like you do have spots off limits, just not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite what you thought I was asking for.
I would never. No. I would never do face. I guess. So,
Are you going for that full body tattooed existence at some point?
I slowed down. I started getting tattoos when I was 13.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was a terrible child. I feel so bad for my parents. That's why my dad didn't like tattoos like at all, because I would just I ended up apprenticing for tattooing at 16, I think it was. I think it was 16, but before that I always wanted to do tattoos, and my friends always made their little ghetto like prison style tattoo guns, and we'd mess around and go home with like tattoos on our arms and shit. My parents friggin' despised me.
How do you go about getting tattoos at 13?
You get a gift card where you can, like a loadable gift card at like Walgreens or whatever, and buy a friggin' tattoo machine online.
Oh my God. So you did it yourself or had a friend do it?
No, I did a couple of them myself. But most of them were from older friends who already started tattooing, and yeah, it was a bad decision.
Sorry, my long feminine eyelashes are in my eye. Sorry, nothing to do about it. I need more mascara.
Mascara.
Don't. That's not a thing. No. We've got enough. This country has gone so far off the side of the road. No. I'm not. This is an open forum. I'm not going there.
You already started it.
There's very few things that I won't talk about on this stream, but the whole gender identity, LGBTQ plus, I'm not going there. No.
No, that's fine.
That's a great way to alienate a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Oh geez. Okay, I will go there in one degree. So I listened to this morning radio show from Sacramento. I have since I was in high school, right?
Yep.
And they were talking about this a couple days ago, that apparently over the weekend there was this article or this blog or a story, or it doesn't matter, whatever, came out and said effectively that, well, first of all, it started that because Monday, I guess it was Flag Day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. True American I am, right? Anyway,
yeah.
But this blog basically said that you should not fly your flag on Flag Day. You should be flying a pride flag because it's Pride Month. And Flag Day should not supersede the equality of people or something to that effect, right? Anyway, so that's the foundation of where this started. Then it de-evolved to, if you fly an American flag in lieu of flying a pride flag throughout Pride Month, you're a homophobe. And I had to check out. I was like, I can't do this. I can't.
Yeah, that's a little much.
I was like, your beliefs are what you want. If you want to fly a pride flag, by all means do it.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't necessarily believe in all parts of said flag or movement or program or people or whatever, it doesn't make them wrong.
That's I mean, that's a little much. People go like way overboard with this stuff, and
the internet trolls are just, oh my god. Anyway, so back to your 13-year-old tattooing, and mascara apparently. Do you have any tattoos that you've either had removed or covered up?
Yes, I actually got one removed on my arm that I got when I was 15. It was actually a pretty good tattoo. I just wanted different stuff. It was like a heartbeat, or a heart with a heartbeat running through it, because it was like it had headphones on it.
Okay.
It was a typical 15-year-old teeny kind of
heartbeat. Got it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I didn't want any more. I will never get another tattoo removed unless I just can't deal with it ever again, because it was so painful and just so hard to deal with. I think I got 4 sessions done and I just gave up. There was still a little bit left over, but I knew I was going to end up covering that spot anyway.
How long ago was that?
I got that done when I was 17 or 18, I think. So it was quite a while ago, almost 10 years ago now. But I've had, I think, 3 or 4 covered, something like that. Yeah. I mean, getting tattoos at 13, you're going to end up covering what?
So I assume you don't have your first tattoo anymore.
No, I do.
You do?
Yes.
What is it?
It's well, that one was also a heart, but it has like a design off of it, and that was done with a little, like, a guitar string in the, like, pen and whatever little motor kind of thing. Yeah, I still have that one. I actually had it gone over from my artist to give it more color again because it started losing it. But I've had that tattoo since. That was my first tattoo at 13 years old. I think it was 13.
Where is that?
It's on my hip.
Do you have a tramp stamp?
I do.
Is that an offensive term?
No, absolutely not. No, it's pretty hard to offend me unless you're saying that you're only Team Ultramel. I'm just kidding. It's a big piece. It's about like this big. It covers most of my lower back, like half my back. It's Cerberus.
That's a little different than a tramp stamp then.
But it's only right there, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people.
You don't have like the 6-inch long freaking flowers and tribal that got in the 90s. No. Well, you weren't old enough to be around in the 90s.
I was born in the 90s. Yeah, I wasn't around, so to speak, I guess.
I guess you're barely a 90s kid. That's fair.
94. Yeah.
This Flex and Python says ex-wife name. Oops. So that's one of those things. It's like you talk about the no-go places that you'll get tattoos done. Mm-hmm. There's also certain I mean, there's obvious certain tattoos that you would never get, right? But some things that I've just determined that are not a good idea. And love my wife as much as I do, I will never put my wife's name on my body. I just think that's a horrendous idea. You're asking for trouble, right? Mm-hmm. Because nothing is forever and shit happens. It's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, my friend is 3 times divorced, and he's gotten all of their names tattooed on him, and he's like, next time I'm not doing it, because as soon as I do it, I get a divorce.
Yeah, you think you'd learn, like first time, shame on me. Second time, okay, maybe. Third time,
what girl would even want their guy to do that if he's had 2 names previously already? Like,
you just line them out.
Yeah, void.
It's like, and then we'll draw a list around it, and we'll just call it the naughty list. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, that would be a clever way to get out of that situation.
For sure, yeah.
Or just like manifesto across the top or something. Tom Rockholm said, if there's no tribal, it's not a tramp stamp. So,
okay, then no, I don't.
So you have a lower back piece.
Yes.
There you go. Flexen said he prefers the term bitch badge.
I love that so much. That's phenomenal.
He says it's less offensive than tramp stamp.
That's perfect. I'm so stealing that. That's great.
So good. Oh man. X's name on the neck. That's awful. Oh, I mean, I'm judging you. I'll be honest. That's just, that's bad. Mindy is in Team Miri tonight for sure. She too has a tramp stamp.
I love Mindy.
Getting it covered with a raven. So this is X's name, the first one.
Ooh.
Covered with a raven. Deaf symbolism over her name sees fitting. Solid. I like that. In fact, that morning radio show I listened to, the producer on there just got a big raven piece done, and it's a cover up. And he didn't exactly say what it's for, but we all know he just recently went through a divorce. So, you can put that together however you see fit. Yeah, I just, couples' names, I'll probably get my kids' names somewhere eventually. Mm-hmm. Originally, this piece was, I don't know if you can't see it. There's a paper airplane right here. It's upside down.
Okay. There's
a paper airplane flying around that globe. And originally the design was I was going to have my kids' names written on the tail of the airplane. Okay. But it's kind of small. I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah.
And so at some point, I'm getting a really cool, basically a bust, so to speak, of a woman in like a traditional style woman in like an old school motorcycle helmet.
Oh, nice.
Or an old school aviation helmet and goggles, something like that.
Right.
Really cool traditional look. So that's going to be all of back here. This is kind of turned into a lifestyle American traditional sleeve. So it started with that music note, which was black and gray at one point. And then my artist out in California turned it into a full music half sleeve with Walk the Line in here.
Oh.
I'm a huge Cash fan. And so that turned out really cool. And then I got the globe with the airplane flying around it. And this little, you'll be able to see there's a bee right here in the middle of the globe, kind of as like that ornament piece. Believe it or not, that bee, that script was on the silverware that my mom and dad got when they got married.
Oh, that's cool.
We now have it because it still fits my name, obviously. And so that is an actual script from silverware that we own. But this is kind of turned into lifestyle. So I'm going to get the probably a motorcycle, realistically.
Yeah.
Girl. And then my buddy Brian that did this piece, he drew this really cool version of Snoopy and the Red Baron on top of his doghouse. And I want to get that back here to kind of tie everything together. And I'll probably put my kids' names there as part of that. I think that'd be cool. That'd be super rad. And then this side, because it's already got the eagle, I've already reserved this entire arm for Mike McGrath in Vegas.
Oh shit! Okay.
I've talked quite a bit about him. Mike's a good buddy of mine. He's a hell of an artist. Yeah. Without a doubt. I just need to come up with, 8 weeks worth of weekend trips and $5,000.
Oh, for sure.
because he's going to do a full photorealistic black and gray animal bust scene.
Wow.
We're going to redo the eagle and make it the centerpiece. And then we're going to probably do like a bear and an elk and, maybe, most things with fur, more than likely.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the entire sleeve is going to be done in black and gray animals, the whole thing.
So how many tattoos do you have right now?
Well, see, I don't have so many that they've all become one, so I can actually count. This has all become one now, obviously.
Yeah.
But I guess we only did 2 sittings. The first one, and then we did all the rest of it in one session, which was pretty impressive. In fact, all of this writing was done last. And this comes all the way up into here.
Sucks. Yeah.
It didn't bother me a bit. This did not hurt one bit, the whole thing. And this script is 6 or 7 years. No, it's more than that because I've been here almost 7 years. We're going on 8 years old. Yeah. And it's still sharp as the day it was written.
Oh, that's good. Beautiful. Yeah. That doesn't happen a lot.
Especially for like scripting that. But there's 2 or 3 sessions or whatever. The writing on my forearms, just below the elbow, I got those done in South Dakota, so that's the second set. The eagle was 1. The thing on my back was 1. The little, there's another paper airplane down here that's colored kind of outside the lines in watercolor. So the idea is it's colored in rainbow, and it's deliberately colored outside the lines. And it looks like it was done in watercolor because we lost our first baby. Oh. And my wife got the umbrella, the rainbow umbrella with the raindrop to symbolize the rainbow baby, right?
That's cute.
And I always wanted something. I mean, it was a big deal for her, obviously. And so we went and got that tattoo, and I was like, I want something complementary to it. I don't want the umbrella. That's traditionally reserved for the women, for the mothers. But I want something complementary to it. And, because obviously I had lived it too. It's part of my story. And we came up with, that was long before this piece existed. We came up with the paper airplane, and we put it in the same place that hers is. But the difference is her umbrella faces her and my airplane faces her.
Oh, that's so
cute. We put them partially because this arm is already oriented the way upright is with the words. But when you put them side by side, they're both upright. And so I've got a watercolor paper airplane on my wrist that we did. And then Brian, he went back and relined it for me because it didn't heal very well. And just kind of worked this piece around it so that it's kind of hidden amongst the leaves and that, but we know it's there, and it's and that. So I've got, what does that work out to be? 6, 8, something like that. But I'm far from done.
Oh yeah, for sure. You already have stuff planned out. I get to plan my next one, and I still don't go farther than that just because of how far I need to travel to my artist, because I got my Billings done in Arvada, Colorado.
Okay.
So I'm definitely just sticking with him. He does amazing work. He doesn't do color though. That's the problem. And I really like color, but this is going to be all black and gray in this sleeve. Yeah,
and I've been talking to Tyler Nolan for a long time now. Over the last year or so, I guess. I'm supposed to have Tyler on here at some point, but he's next to Miguel is probably the hardest person to get a hold of in the industry. But I've already talked to Tyler a number of times, and I have dedicated, it'll be my right calf because the right half of my tattoos are all color, and the left half will be all black and gray. But I've already said that I will give my entire right lower leg to Tyler to do, within reason, whatever he wants, because Tyler has such a unique style. His color theory in that, it's very Tyler Nolan. Like, you see a Nolan piece, it's
I haven't seen his stuff yet. I guess I never knew that.
He was on Ink Master season.
Oh, I had no idea.
7, I think, something like that. But he's out of Ocala, Florida, or something like that. He's out of South Florida. Yeah. But his color theory is so heavily saturated. It's wall-to-wall color. It's absolutely gorgeous. His line work is beautiful. He does animals and that kind of thing too.
Right.
And so I've just decided, him and I've talked about it. I was like, I'll use one of my trips for my job and we'll go down to Florida and I'll spend a couple days with him and I want to do a lower leg sleeve that has Tyler's stamp on it and maybe put some kind of animal, maybe tastefully integrate a snake into it in case I do this for the rest of my life. I don't need a big fucking cobra on my thigh or something, But yeah, so that's the big one is the Tyler leg sleeve and get down to Mike to do my animal sleeve on my arm.
Right.
Those will be the big investments.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something I spend a lot of money on.
So expensive. I got lucky. Brian did this one for me as a buddy deal, so I got to go back and do him a favor. Corey, my buddy Corey down in Colorado, asks, who is the artist in Arvada?
Oh, I gotta find his name again. He's at it's a really big shop that they have. I think there's 2 or 3 locations that they have now. Damn it. And I can never friggin' find him on here.
And Corey, I know you're in the Denver, Colorado Springs area or whatever.
Ramon Marquez.
Oh,
sorry.
They're fine.
Yeah.
What was it?
Ramon Marquez.
Okay. So there's that. And then my barber is a tattoo fanatic as well. And her black and gray guy used to be here, obviously. And he left and moved to, actually, I think he moved to Minnesota, but his right-hand man that he taught moved and opened up a shop in old Colorado Springs. So I'll send your stuff. Corey, I'll send you his info too, because his stuff is crazy. Corey and I are doing a breeder loan this year together. I sent him one of my pain in the ass normals that won't eat. And he got her to eat and then bred her to his hypo tri-stripe.
Oh.
So, and we might do some more stuff this year with other animals I have, because the tri-stripe stuff that's another gene that I've really wanted to get into, but I just can't justify the cost of entry.
I'd love to see that with Monarch too. I think that would be a really good.
It'll look better with Ultramel, but
no, absolutely not.
You're probably right, actually. You've got the contrast thing that you left. I don't know if that was an accident or if she legitimately just left. So I will say, if that was not intentional, that is amazing coincidence in time. Hey, she's back.
Meow. I don't know why it does that. Sorry.
So okay, timeout. So Herbert says, well, it's Team Ultramel then, because you're just gone. So did you, on the record, did you or did you not just leave the interview?
No, I don't know why StreamYard freaking kicks me out. It's always at like an hour and something. Every friggin' time. That's way
too coincidental to be not on purpose.
I don't remember the last thing that I actually like heard you ask or whatever. I don't know, whatever.
That timing was impeccable. Flexen said she said, "Fuck your Ultramel, I'm out." That's the way it looked. I was talking to nobody there for a minute. I'm like, well, that was either we finally pissed her off or that was way too coincidentally timed.
I pulled a Cusco.
Yeah, well, you came back. Cusco just left. The funny thing about Cusco, though, is he left his camera on. So he stayed in the stream with a black screen, but just shut the camera off and left. So Garrett, we had like a 3 people on the box, right? Garrett and I are still talking, and Cusco's black screen is just sitting there. And he stayed there until we literally stopped the episode. And I was like,
don't piss him off.
Well, I also found out later that he he'd done like 5 interviews that day or something. So mine was the last because it's fairly late, right? And
yeah,
it's just who knows. Nava said Zach said that Ultra Tri-Stripes have been made. I have seen them, not in person, but was it Warren something or other that made the Ultra Tri-Stripe? I've seen it, the pictures of it anyway.
Oh, I haven't seen it,
but not at Monarch. I don't know that.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
Zach said he wishes that you would have lied to us instead. Said it was on purpose. Corey, like I don't know the name. I'll have to send it to you. My I'll get it from my barber tomorrow when I see her. So I mean, what aside from talking crap about Ultramel and whatnot, what you got anything else what's exciting in Miri world?
Oh, honestly, nothing exciting right now. I've just been focusing on moving. That's just been my whole friggin' world lately. Other than just, I'm boring. Like now that I think about it, I'm like, damn, I'm boring lately. I try and get more into getting my motorcycle out and getting my Jeep out, but now the whole moving thing stopped that, and yeah, I'm boring.
Of, do you know Shannon Coswell?
I don't think so.
I think you and her get along great. I've never actually talked to her directly, but she's another snake girl that is covered in tattoos and drives a bright teal Jeep and shoots and hunts and whatever else. And
yeah,
I get along great. I see her pictures all the time. So you've heard my story. Now, what's your next tattoo idea? We got any plans, anything on the docket you've been wanting to do?
Yeah, I think I want to do a harpy eagle on the inside of my arm to kind of go, I mean, just for the rest of what I even have left there. And I want to get my shoulder covered. A friend of mine passed away this year, and I've been like lining up a bunch of tattoos. We were actually supposed to get a lot of tattoos together, matching, and so I'm slowly like trying to get to the point where I can like get those tattooed without breaking down and like crying and everything, because he's an amazing person. He was part of the reptile industry also. He wasn't big into like talking to a bunch of people though, so not a ton know who he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to get, he was really big into chameleons, so I'm going to get a chameleon on my shoulder. And then a couple other things. I think this one's really funny. We were going to get matching snake hemipenes tattooed on our we're like the most vulgar people together. I fucking love him so much. I miss him. But yeah, he said it one day. We were drinking at the bar and he's like, do you want to just go get this done right now?
All great tattoo ideas start at a bar. Yeah.
Oh, I still gotta get that, but I'm like waiting.
Alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of the world's problems.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's like Billy asked me today for his coffee and combos or whatever. He's like, "How'd you come up with your name?" I'm like, it's simple, man. What always goes with every snake show and every breeder you've ever met? Going out to the bar afterwards or passing beers around the show or whatever. It's pretty simple. So I just spun it and made it kind of classy and put its play on words, but it's no different. It's just a snake wrapped around a martini glass. So.
Yeah, I like it.
I love that. I got a huge shout out to freaking Brandon, man. The way he came up with this final design, I mean, it's everything I've thought I wanted it to be. It's
definitely like in your face. I love your logo. I remember seeing it a long time ago, and it's one of my favorites. But I'm an alcoholic, so it's kind of
first step's admitting it. So. We'll have to get. I don't actually have any because I don't carry a stock of apparel. because I'm poor people like that. But I'll have to get you next time I do a shirt order. I'll have to get you I'll get you a tank with one of these on.
For sure. Thank you. More people need to do tank tops. Like, that's all I friggin' wear. Even in the winter, I'm always wearing tank tops.
I'm just following in God Almighty Chris Eaton's footsteps.
Yes, and I told him that he needed to, and he did. He sent me his first tank top.
He's not shy about why he does it, and so I'm gonna let him lead that crusade, and I'll enjoy the fruits of his labor.
I love Chris.
Chris is so great. Him and his freaking hat, man, at the Conroe show or whatever. Like, what a goof, man. I give him shit all the time. He comes in here occasionally in the comments, but I always give him shit because I remember listening to Snakes and the Fat Man at the very beginning, like, when it was him and Sean Bradley with ball shit and whatnot. I was like, Chris, you're getting soft in your old age, man. Like, what, you're gonna let one heart attack or you're gonna let one stroke or whatever turn you into a wuss? Like, you're not getting all gentle and you're not cussing as much, and you're like, and you're losing your edge. And now he wants to move. Now he wants to move to Texas and buy a cowboy hat. Like, no, you're out of your lane, pal. Like, that's not how this works.
He belongs with the Texas crew. You should have seen them.
Yeah, that's fair. I gotta get down there. I mean, I've been down to Dallas, obviously, and but I've never made a Tinley and I've never made an Arlington, and I'm gonna miss them all again this year because my son's on the way, and it's just a whole thing and whatnot. But I've really got to get down there because it does look like a really neat time. And like I talked to Mike Brizzi a few weeks ago, I mean, that Texas Mafia, the Texas crew, and they just seem really cool, you know. And
yeah, they are. And
I feel like I've pulled my foot out of my mouth enough with those guys and proved that I'm not going anywhere. You know, I had James Derling on, a few months back. He was easily one of the most vocal people against me in the very beginning, you know, and now he's one of our biggest supporters. I talk to him somewhat regularly, and I'm actually working with Chris Sorrentino right now from Balls Deep for the same reason. We're working on another project, and he was one of my biggest outspoken haters in the beginning. And it's just interesting how that stuff turns around, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, you've been around long enough. How much of my entry into the scene did you witness?
I honestly, I don't like I said before, I was bad with social media. I would hear about certain people like all the time, and your logo is one that stuck out, so that was a big thing. But I don't dive into trying to find things out about people. I like meeting them at the shows before I'm seeing anything. That's pretty much just what happens. And I don't know, I guarantee I haven't seen anything close to what you have posted, and I can't sit down and watch videos because I'm like a freaking squirrel. I'm always jumping around and I can't watch stuff that.
You and me both. It drives my wife nuts how we can be watching a show on TV and I can be surfing the internet and watching TikTok all at the same time. That's just how my brain works. I mean, you know, in my career field, I have to be able to listen to 3 conversations at a time anyway. But it's just I don't sit still well. That's my I don't relax at all. I get that from my dad. You know, and that's why you're out here. I'm out here. It's 95 freaking degrees in my garage, and I'm building shit because I need something to do. I'm not just gonna go sit down.
Oh no! Yeah, I think I saw your story post, but once I'm out in a hot garage, I'm like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, today's gross, and it's 9:30. I guarantee it's probably still 90 something degrees out there. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it's still 90 here. It was only 95 today, but it's supposed to be in the 90s and hundreds all week.
All right. Well, I mean, unless there's anything else you wanted to add that we didn't hit on. How many collections are you planning on this year? See, before you get to that, it's weird because if you watch some of these, most of the time I never talk snakes with people.
Okay. I saw seldomly. A couple.
Yeah, or very seldomly. So I never get into the same rigmarole of, you know, what are you pairing? What's your favorite? What's your most anticipated? What are you looking for? How many clutches? You know, it's just not. Yeah. There's plenty of shows for that. This is different, you know.
Yeah, I'm anticipating 40 to 45, but with the move, that's scaring me. I was talking to Mike Brizzy at Conroe about that stuff, and I think he mentioned it on your show also, that he he was losing a lot of clutches and whatnot because of the move, and that's what I'm dreading, but I'm fully expecting it.
Yeah.
So anticipating 40 to 45, hoping that still stays around 30 or so with the move, but I very much think that I'm going to end up losing a couple, not snakes, but yeah.
Yeah, if mine were able to survive in a trailer, in an enclosed cargo trailer for 33 days, where it was cycling from 65 to 95,
yeah,
and then move over here and stay in this garage for 6 weeks while I built this room around them in the heat with no HVAC, and still put down 19 clutches out of the 25 pairings, whatever, I think it'll be just fine. They're way more resilient than we think.
Yeah, that's for sure. But even like you breathe wrong towards some of them and they just keel over or whatever. Yeah. Leave it to ball python.
So is that the only species you work with?
No, absolutely not. I work with a lot of different colubrids. I love rare snakes. I love venomous snakes.
Oh, you're one of them.
Yeah,
you're going to the right place then.
Oh, for sure. Exactly. When it was very much planned to go to Texas, so we were looking around there already for him to get a job, and finally ended up in the Dallas area, so that'll be really nice. Even though you can't be in Dallas with that stuff.
Yeah, you'll be right in Earl's backyard. You got all kinds of stuff to go play with.
Yeah, I love Earl so much. I've been on the phone with him a million times about this move, and he's helped me tremendously with freaking out about finding stuff and figuring out which counties have the certain ordinances and which cities. And so, but I work with boas, retics, colubrids, indigos. I do a lot with those. Couple hognoses. I have emerald tree boas. Some lizard species. I'm trying to think of all the rest of them. I don't know. I work with a lot of stuff. So.
Aside from Billings, is there one thing out there that you've always wanted you don't have yet?
Not yet. My last one was Papuan pythons, and I got a pair of those in Daytona, last Daytona. So those were right up there with Billings. I guarantee there's a couple. I just can't think of it right now. Probably more venomous species than anything, because I mean I've had a lot of snakes, and I don't think there's any that I haven't been able to get my hands on. Because once I do want a species and it's not a Billings, I can usually get my hands on it. Yeah. So I don't ever think of the price. I'm like, no, I want it. I'm gonna have it.
Well, see, and it's always the interesting thing when you interview people and you meet people in the hobby, because it seems the overwhelming majority have the same story. You know, they all grew up catching frogs and garter snakes and shit in their backyard and whatnot. And I'm not that story. Like I'm the weird one in the group. My wife and I were deathly afraid of snakes until about 5 years ago.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend in high school that had a king snake, I want to say, something like that. And I took her and her best friend and her boyfriend and that to the Sacramento Reptile Show many years back. And I walked around there and experienced it. My dad thought I was out of my mind, and whatnot. And we went back to her house, and I held whatever kind of snake she had at the time. And then I didn't touch another snake until, like I said, 5 years or so ago. And I was deathly afraid of them. It's just my thing always was I was enamored by them, but had no desire to involve myself with them. I liked snakes behind 3 inches of bulletproof glass. Right. I don't mind looking at gaboons and mambas and shit like that behind the glass, especially the ones that can kill you, right? But even at zoos and that, anacondas and berms and that kind of thing. And my wife used to work with a guy that actually runs the shows up here and bred ball pythons for a long time. He's into other stuff now, but yeah, we went to the show and I helped him with his booth, and we got our banana Kevin, which we still have, our first one, as a pet. And so I had a really cool, PVC cage for him and the whole 9 yards, and that obviously turned into this. But I attribute a lot of that to Brian Barczyk. Love him or hate him, regardless of what you want to believe.
Right.
I'm exactly what Brian Barczyk is set out to do. And his videos, and I started watching, obviously snake bites originally, and then I've been watching the vlog literally every day since he started. Yeah. And he missed one on Sunday, which was really bizarre. It was very out of character. He did not post one on Sunday. I don't know if something went wrong or if he's migrating away, because he's been talking about migrating away from the 7 days a week or whatever, if that was the first one. But either way, Brian was a big part of that, because I like his approach that the opposite of fear is knowledge, and that that's how it works.
Absolutely. Yep.
And when I got my wife to hold the first one, then we started to go back and forth, and now I've got a 7-foot freaking boa down here at my feet that I happily open her drawer and pick her up and walk around with her. And she's a teddy bear, but it's just weird. It's funny when I meet people, because they've all got the same story as you and everyone else. And I'm that weird oddball out,
I'm sure there's plenty like that. I know of a handful of people who say the same thing with just how they don't want to be around snakes in person holding them, but they'll look at them. But I've seen those same people buy snakes from me just 2 years down the road, because they hung out in the snake room for so long on this day or whatnot. And that's pretty cool when that happens.
It's funny how fast it can change, though. How fast your mindset can change about it.
Exactly.
I had, I don't know, probably 30 animals or something like that when I went and did Jay Brewer.
Yep.
And I went from the 30 ball python hatchlings or whatever it was I had at the time to picking up his 19-foot, 200-pound retic, and didn't even think twice about it. Yep. It's just weird. It's been a wild couple of years, that's for damn sure. So
yeah.
Corey says he's like, I want an indigo and a hognose. His problem is they're not allowed to be owned in Colorado. So
yeah. Indigos are great snakes. I love them. They're literally the dogs of the snake world. They act like dogs.
I am on the list with John Michaels, I believe his name is, with Black Pearl.
Yep.
For a blacktail Crebo.
Yeah, I have 2 blacktails.
Do you? How big are they?
My female, I think now she's 3 years old. She's about 6 feet. They don't get huge.
Yeah.
So, but the indigos get a little bit bigger, I think. But yeah, she's pretty good size.
I want a pair. I'd like to try breeding them just to try it. And it's not going to be a big part. That's kind of what this rack that you're sitting on is going to be, is my my other things rack. Just a couple of little pairs of projects I want to play with. I got a pair of carpets or coastals. I got a pair of Dumerals. I'm going to have a pair of albino het snow boas, the Crebos, a couple other things. But the Crebo, I've never actually seen one in person. But again, it came from Brian's videos, Barczyk's videos with Maya and Rico. It's such an intriguing animal, because they are sizably impressive, obviously, when they're full grown. But the thing that was really interesting to me was when I watched who did the video at John's house? Oh, Dave Kaufman. When Dave did the video at John's house with the Crebos and the Indigos and whatnot, I was blown away at how the Crebo, especially the blacktails, are so much like a king without the ability to kill you.
Right.
And I was like, oh, dude, how cool is that? Like, I can have a 6, 7, 8 foot long king with no fear. That's awesome. And it was funny. I think he even said in the video that a lot of times venomous keepers will keep Kribos as a way to learn the movement, the attitude, size, that kind of the intelligence of a king before because they're so similar.
Just like cobras, just like them. I love it.
I was like, I can't wait. I want one so bad. My wife wants to name them along the lines of Dora the Explorer. So we might have a Dora and a Diego at some point.
Cute.
She names all the animals. I don't think
I do that.
I've named a few, but like I said, there's 92 in here, not including hatchlings, and every one of them has a name.
I just can't get used to the numbers. Some of them I've kept numbers on them, but I'm like, I can't like say like, oh, I gotta go feed H6CM or something like that. I have to give it a name.
Well, and that's the only way that I can keep her in the loop about what I'm doing, because she doesn't get a lot of the genes. Like I told Billy and ours is like, I'm kind of Rain Man when it comes to the genetics. That's why, same thing when like you're talking about the aviation, aeronautical engineering, whatever. I grew up in an aviation family. I work in the aviation industry. I have a pilot's license. That's all I know. I was born and raised in an airplane, right? And so when I'm training people in my job, I'm like, hey, what kind of airplane is that? Oh, that says AC-11. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. Like, and sometimes people just don't get it. I can rattle that crap off like this because that's all. I guess it's all I've ever known and learned. But I joke that I'm Rain Man when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's easy for me. The genetics did exactly the same thing. They came to me very easily. Mm-hmm. But when I talk to my wife about it, she doesn't quite get it. She doesn't quite understand what we're attempting to do. But if I tell her that I'm breeding Drake to Fiona, she knows what that means.
Oh, there you go.
And she can envision which is which. She knows what they look like, obviously. So that's why I let her. I don't care. I think the labels look better with names on them anyway.
Oh yeah. Yep.
These ones have all been relabeled now. Since I got my Freedom Breeder racks, I've gone to all black labels so they'll match. And my OCD, cool. I gotta say, seeing your system in the background, I think you and I get along just fine because my OCD loves these Freedom Breeder racks. Yep. And you're the same way. I can see it. It's like I see some of these people that it was like when Billy had, I think it was Anna on a few weeks back from AK. Mm-hmm. And she just writes willy-nilly all over her tubs. And I'm like, it gave me anxiety watching that.
I do that when I have a clutch in a tub before I can print out the labels, and it drives me insane. I haven't figured out really like a way to do, because I write what they eat under their tags, but like that still drives me nuts because it's just handwritten. It's not like perfect like the tag is. And
I've got writing on all of my tubs, and it does mean stuff, and I put certain things in certain places because that tells me certain things or whatever. Right. Like I log like the prelay shed and so I log when expected ovulation is, and that's in a specific spot in red, and then or whatever, and then when they're supposed to lay, I'll put that in the same spot in green, and like I got all these different codes and stuff in the room. But I get it because even when I get into the hatchling rack, as soon as they go in their own tub, they get a label from a label.
Exactly.
It drives me. I can't do it. It's like
I just designed these new labels, and I was trying to like find like all these different ideas from other people's and like how they do it, and I really like how it ended up coming out. I used to just I friggin' hated Reptile Scan so much. Finally moved over to Husbandry Pro. I friggin' love it so damn much. Yep. So much better. And then moved all the QR codes and whatever. I'm finally learning all that Photoshop stuff, and I think they came out pretty well.
It was tough. By the way, for those of you that haven't, go try Husbandry Pro. Link is in the description. It comes directly from me as an official partner. They know that I sent you. Go click on that and sign up for Husbandry Pro. You will thank me later. Yeah. With that said, I was kind of bummed when he and I got together and he and Billy brought me on the team as an official partner, whatever that means. Right? I just spread the word. That's all it really does. But when I made the transition full time into Husbandry Pro, because I had Reptile Scan as well, I had just printed and put in all of these labels. Yeah. With Reptile Scan codes on them. And I had to go in and download all of the QR codes, reset them in my Avery software, send them to my printer, and print all brand new ones again. Yeah. It's like, oh God, it sucks, but it's so handy. Like I run around here with, and it's funny because when I had him on, Robert, his name is, when I had Robert on, because I interviewed him as well, he said that he and his team never envisioned Husbandry Pro to be an app. It was a program on the computer, albeit internet, but it was a program on the computer for all of the data logging. I can honestly say, with the exception of when I initially put everybody in, and when they finally upgraded or they changed the feature that you can make custom rack arrangements now, I went and changed them all to match what I have, because some of my stuff, or every one of my racks, is a mixture, Yeah. Other than that, I've never done anything on my laptop at all. I use the app on my phone exclusively. Yeah. And he thought that was so weird. And he's seeing that that's the trend. Everybody's doing it with their phone or their iPad or whatever. I run around with that thing open all the time and, scan weights and scan prelays and scan for eggs and scan for copulation and pairing. And I love it. It's so easy. Yeah.
And it's quick. Reptile Scan, you had to stand there for a whole minute trying to get it to do it. These are
half the time better. It scans tags while I'm walking around. I'm not even looking at it. Yeah. And I mean, you can't really see behind me here, but my freaking QR codes are tiny. Yeah. It's so I've been really impressed. And even with the, because they're in these plastic sleeves that you get from Uline, that have a reflection to them, even in the glare and everything, it's just rock solid. So
it's spot on. Yeah,
I can't speak highly enough of them for sure.
I laminate mine and it does that glare, but it never ever affects it.
Well, that was the original setup I had. You go back early into my videos, and I made on PowerPoint, oddly enough, my ID cards. And for the longest time, they had a picture of the snake on them, and their name and the genetics and the birth date and the rep scan code and or QR code and all that crap. And the thing that started to bug me, talking about the OCD, that started bothering me about that is none of the pictures were current. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They look different. That. I'm like, God. And then, so the problem is then I got to go take a new picture and put it in the system, print out just that one instead of all the cards again, run it through my laminator so it matches, cut it out, put new Velcro on the back. And so when I moved to these Freedom Breeders, I bought 300 of these freaking Uline plastic sleeves for the business cards. And I actually stole the black card idea from Will Moreau's because I love the way his setup looks for the same reason.
Yeah, I would have never thought that. They look really good.
Well, especially with a bright colored logo, because my logo is on a black background.
Exactly. Yep.
And so I was like, it just makes perfect sense. And I'll call my printer down the street because there's no way in hell I'm going to run that much black ink through my printer, you know. And I've been I've simplified them dramatically. I made them so that it's a name and you can see the genes pretty easily. Yep. And I put in orange in the top corner, if you saw it, the sex symbols, male or female. So now it's just super easy. When you look at a tub, you don't have to try to read 1.0 or any of that crap. It now just has a symbol on it. It's so nice. Right. So, and Husbandry Pro has all the really cool QR codes. It was a little hard for me to find them at first. I talked to Robert a few times. Like, I don't know how to get these downloaded to where I can manipulate them, but I figured it out finally. So,
I haven't done that far yet.
You haven't put the codes on, or are you just printing them the way Husbandry Pro does it? Yeah. Got it. Okay. Yeah, these are all done custom. If you're looking for an easy way to do it, go on the Avery website, you know, that makes all the products and that.
Yep.
And you can use their template maker for business cards.
Okay.
And all you have to do is download I don't know if there's an easier workaround than the way I did it, but all I did was download the QR code, screenshot it because it downloads it into a weird format. I just take a screenshot, drag it into Paint, and cut it out, which I know that's who uses Microsoft Paint, right? That's literally the only thing I use it for, is for cutting out QR codes. Because I can't make Photoshop crop correctly, so I just crop it in Paint. And then I just save it with the animal's name in a folder. And then when you're ready, you can go into Avery's template maker, and you can start by making like the same idea. So you want, obviously, your logo and the name and everything all in the same place so they all match. Right. And you can, as you do it, they do sheets of eight or 10 at a time, but you can build it as apply to all instead of apply to one.
Okay, yeah.
So you move everything around on one. So I had like 10 sheets of Kevin, right? And I get everything exactly where I want it. Then you change the button to edit one, and you go in, you change the name, change the symbol, male to female if you need it, and replace the image with whatever QR code for that animal. Right. And it's actually not all that hard. And then if you want, you can order them directly from Avery. And
how long did that take you?
To make them all?
Yeah.
2 hours maybe.
Okay.
It's not that hard. I mean, you've got more animals than I do, but it's really not that difficult. The tricky part was making sure I actually got them all, because they're not in numerical order necessarily.
Exactly. Yeah, that was driving me nuts, just trying to make sure. And then I had to go through each one before I put them on the tubs, and I scanned every one to make sure they were all correct.
Yep, I remember doing that and making sure that I didn't have a Kevin card, because every card had Kevin's code on it until I changed it, right? And so it's like at some point I'm going to scan I'm going to scan my boa and get a freaking banana ball python.
I love that name. It's so cute.
That was like why I said that. I mean, that was the first snake we got, and when my wife found out it was a banana, is what the gene was. She said, "Well, my mom rather is a huge Minions fan."
Oh, okay.
And so that's where it came from, was Kevin the Minion and the whole banana, you know, and that kind of thing.
My first ball python was a pied, and his name is Scooby. And that's probably the cheesiest name that I have in here, I think. We have
a banana pied as well that she named Stuart for the same reason. Do you have like themed or paired names, like coupled names?
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to think. They're kind of like, some of them are pretty stupid. I have themed names based on like shows I watch.
I've got all of the Friends. I've got all of the Friends cast. Right here. All of my double head ultra stripe stuff is all the Friends. I've got all of them. So Monica's the bitch.
Mine are all.
She is too.
I love that.
She's so mean.
I love that show. That's one of my favorite shows.
That's the pastel super cinnamon double head female.
I even have a Friends tattoo.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, it says Unagi.
Oh, you and my wife would get along great then. She has every season on DVD and was mad when Netflix took it off TV.
I would be too.
You own them all.
It's easier.
It is, and that's kind of like our background music kind of show.
Yeah.
Like when you're going to bed. We have, no joke, there's what, 26 seasons, something like that?
Oh, yeah.
We have literally gone through start to finish probably a dozen times.
Oh, yeah. I have too.
To the point now, and it was never my favorite show. It was a good show, obviously. I like it. But to the point where I was reciting the lines in the show before they happened.
Yep.
Like I can quote so many of those episodes now because we've watched it so many times.
I do that with all of my shows with Friends for sure. It's so easy. Yeah, I get made fun of all the time. Like, what are you even doing? Like, why do you keep watching this? What's the point?
But we did. So I've got all the Friends. I have Hades and Persephone.
I have a lot of gods and goddesses names. A lot.
The funny thing about that one was Persephone is my scaleless head female. And up until she laid her first clutch last year, she was a royal bitch. Easily one of the meanest snakes I have. Not mean, defensive.
Right.
And for that matter, Hades was too. And he's the scales head male that I have, and to the point where, like, when I first got Hades from Josh Lundberg, I had clear tubs back in the day.
Yeah.
But I covered his tub with paper because he would strike at it every time I walked by.
Yep. I have a Hades that does that.
The names were so fitting totally by mistake, but they were bought together, but they were bought as a project pair. So my wife named them together. Like, so we've got those. I've got Tarzan and Jane. Those are my mahogany het pied pair that produced the Suma pied last year that didn't make it, sadly enough. I have Thing 1, 2, and 3.
I've debated on naming that a couple times
because I'm not sure what they are, but they all match. Yeah. They're all identical. It looks like it's a gene that I think is. I'm not going to claim it's a new gene. It's what I'm calling the Chloe for now because that's her name, the mom. But it's definitely different. There's something there, and just for giggles, I put a GHI Mojave het clown to her, and the 3 normal 50% het clowns that came out, Thing 1, 2, and 3. Don't look like just normal het clowns to me. So I saved them all. They're all girls, and if I prove that there's something there, then I've already got it into clown. So
there you go.
But yeah, I had our second, I guess, snake that we got is a bell. It's actually a pin potion. It's not actually a bell, but a pin potion. It's gray snake, almost white or whatever.
Right.
My wife named her Elsa. So then we ended up with an Anna. Yeah. And then my snow hognose that I don't have anymore, his name was Olaf.
Yeah, I love that name.
The only one we don't have is a Sven. I'm sure I'll have one of those eventually. That's how she names it. It's just
I do the same thing. I'm running out of names.
That's the problem. I'm glad I don't have to pick them. My pastel double-head dreamsicle, the first snake I ever bought from Justin, I named him Johnny because he actually has a J on him, oddly enough. But I named him Johnny because he was going to be my cash cow, Johnny Cash, when I started making dreamsicles. To this day, he's never produced a dreamsicle.
Aww.
I got pieds and lavenders last year. I've never hit a dreamsicle. That's what my logo is, and I've never hit one. But we'll see. So I got all kinds of silly names in here. It's fun. I think that's I'm looking down at my doom rolls down here. So I got this big doom rolls female. She was allegedly a proven breeder / Partho producer. The whole backstory on her is really cloudy, and I'm not really sure. One of the gals in the doom rolls group that I've talked to quite a bit knows this animal and knows a lot more of the story than I do at this point.
Yeah.
But my wife named her Nala for whatever reason. And so when I sourced my male, his name obviously had to be Simba.
Yeah.
So I've got Simba and Nala. And then when I sold my boa, my albino boa that I named Jameson, because that's my favorite whiskey.
Yeah.
Somehow I thought that a boa was an Irish thing or whatever. So I named him Jameson. And when I sold him and bought this big female that's exactly the same genetically as he was from my buddy Chase, it's like I just changed the label on their tag, and now her name is Jamie. That's super lazy. I was like,
oh yeah,
I got rid of Jameson. Now I have a Jamie instead.
Yeah, I'm like really starting to run out of names now. I just kind of like go along with what shows I watch lately, or like Disney stuff. I have a Simba and a Nala, and I don't know. I got one of my boas from a US Arc auction. I named him US Arc. I was just like, I can't like think of anything else. Yeah.
That's very creative.
So creative. So creative. I think he was one of the, if not the first snake that I bought at an auction. pretty sure.
So I had this Enchi female that we got as an adult from. It's not necessarily a collection buyout. There's a guy here locally that my buddy had found, and we more or less rescued most of those snakes from that environment because he was being evicted and this house was gross, and the snakes came in with a bazillion mites and everything else. And in hindsight, it was probably a really dumb idea, but it was so early on in my collection, I didn't know what to do, and I had no adults. So when I had a chance to get adults, I just took it, right?
Yeah.
Especially adult females. And so my wife named the Enchi female Kiki for whatever reason. So whatever she came up with, right? Well, I just sold her to somebody and shipped her out because last year I made a really, really nice super Enchi. And part of my goal or my plan so far is everything in my female rack at some point will be either visual recessive, het for something, or at bare minimum a super / ALS combo.
Right.
Because I want to get away from producing normals and single gene crap and whatnot. So when I produced the super Enchi, it turned out really nice. She was a good eater, and I'm like, all right, I'll keep her up. And I needed to make space anyway, so I went ahead and just sold Kiki ahead of time since she wasn't going to go this year. It didn't look like, and so I named the super Enchi Kiki 2. So now in my so now in my Husbandry Pro app, when I type in Kiki, I've already archived Kiki because she's gone, but it says Kiki and Kiki 2. And her I laugh every time I look at her tag. I was like, that's no effort at all. That's just a cop out.
Pure laziness, straight up.
I can't call her Kiki. That's not fair because the problem is 8-10 years from now, if somebody calls me, because I send out a hatch card with every animal I sell with the lineage on it and whatnot, and I always put the animal name. Well, I don't put the animal name usually. I just put the genetics of the female and their ID number in my system. And if a decade from now somebody calls me and says, "Hey, I got this. I just had this clutch, and it's got some weird thing in it or whatever." And the male I got from a guy that bred a female from you, apparently his name was Kiki or whatever, I would not know which one he was talking about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've recycled names unintentionally just from snakes that I've either sold or if one had passed away or something. But I guarantee that I have something in here that got a recycled name. I just don't know which one it is.
Well, you said that you named a snake USR. That's about as lazy as Kiki 2, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, yeah.
Do you have a lazier one than that?
I don't think so.
I do have one more that's kind of.
I have a Jack and Sally. That's kind of.
I have a Jack and Jill. They're not related. Jill came way later. Jack's named Jack because he was a black pearl.
Oh, okay. Yeah, these are Mex king snakes that I got from somebody. The guy was moving and he was like, "Oh, are you interested in these?" I hadn't seen Mexes in a long time. Like, hell yeah, I do. But I kept his name. What?
San Luis Potosi. I only know that from watching Brian's videos.
Yeah,
and Terra Humera Mountain King Snake, just because that one's fun to say.
I love the Latin names or the binomial names or whatever anybody calls them. That's something that I'm like really big into is researching those kind of names. I hate common names because so many things are named the same. So all of those binomial names are so much easier to remember.
Yeah, I disagree with you completely. I can't keep track.
I'm good. I guess that's one thing that I'm actually good at.
There you go. That's your Rain Man quality, is Latin names.
Yeah. And Monarch.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sure at this point I've wasted enough of your time with my propaganda in the background.
Oh yeah, that was wasted time. Yeah.
No. Yeah. If there's anything, is there anything else you wanted to add that we didn't get to?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you spending 2 hours of your life with me.
I appreciate it. That was probably the most I've ever talked on any show so far.
Not true. You've been on Billy's podcast, and his are like a 4-hour minimum. Like,
yeah, but I don't think I talked a ton.
Good point. It's a 3-hour Billy cast with a guest.
I loved that show. I really appreciate you having me on here. It was a lot of fun. And normally I'm like super nervous with this stuff, but it's already gone a lot better than I thought it has.
Are you sure you're not just drunk? Maybe it makes it easier.
Definitely not drunk. Maybe buzzed.
Well, like we talked about, you and I did before we came on, it's like some of these are tough because it's like prying, like pulling teeth trying to get people to talk, and I have a hard time because I end up talking a lot because people don't engage.
Yeah.
Like what's the point? I mean, I can do videos on my own channel of just me yammering on if people want to listen to me, and so considering that you and I have never actually engaged in much of any conversation to speak of, I think it went swimmingly, quite honestly. Yeah. But like we mentioned before, I think you and I are probably more closely aligned than we're willing to admit. So it definitely makes that easier for sure. Yeah. So definitely. We'll have to have you on later in the year and see how your season's coming and some of the really gross looking Monarch stuff that you've made and and whatnot. And at some point I'll actually get to a show and the first round is on me. So
sounds good to me.
It's a date as long as there's free drinks involved.
Cheers to that.
All right. I'm gonna put you aside real quick and sign out with everybody.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, guys. That's enough. That's enough shooting the shit there. So, again, huge thank you to Miri. Like I said, I'm gonna call her Miri because she doesn't look like a Sydney, so we're just gonna go with that. But huge thanks to her, and thank you for all you guys hanging out for another 2-hour run, man. I am not capable of keeping these under 2 hours. It just doesn't seem like it. I don't know how guys like Cusco do hour-long interviews to the dot. It's just not my style. So I appreciate all the love and support, of course. I know we missed a video this past week. It's kind of that weird intermediate time where there's really not a lot happening until eggs really start dropping and hatching out pretty soon. Speaking of which, looks like I can read the tub from here. It says the 26th of this month, so look for an announcement for a live cutting. I know we missed the first clutch of the year, but clutch 2, there's only 3 eggs and 2 of them look bad, and it's probably not going to be all that exciting, but we'll see. Sometime close to the 26th, and then not far after that in July, we've got a couple clutches coming up ready to go. So big stuff coming. Make sure you're staying tuned. And Husbandry Pro, link in the description. I'll see you guys next week.